Welcome, dear viewers, to Pulse of Awareness, your sanctuary for wisdom and conscious living in an increasingly complex world. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey into the realm of Shinrin Yoku, the ancient Japanese art of forest bathing, and explore how this profound practice offers healing medicine for our modern afflictions. Stay with us until the end to discover the science of healing through nature, and please support our channel with your likes and subscriptions. First, the roots of Shinrin Yoku, Japanese philosophy and sacred connection with nature. In the early 1980s, as Japan underwent rapid industrialization that fundamentally transformed the rhythms of daily existence, the government observed alarming trends. Rates of anxiety, depression, and stress-related illnesses were climbing dramatically among populations increasingly disconnected from the natural world they had revered for millennia. In 1982, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries introduced the term Shinrin Yoku, which translates literally as forest bathing. This wasn't meant as literal bathing in water, but rather a complete sensory immersion in the forest atmosphere and its therapeutic energies. This concept wasn't an innovation, but rather a formalization of a relationship between the Japanese people and nature that stretched back thousands of years. In Shinto, Japan's indigenous spiritual tradition, nature is considered sacred and inhabited by divine spirits called kami that dwell in mountains, rivers, and ancient trees. Forests, mountains, and waterways aren't merely natural resources to be exploited, but living entities deserving of reverence and profound respect. This spiritual perspective on nature enabled the Japanese to understand that communion with the natural world isn't recreational luxury, but spiritual necessity. The Japanese philosopher Watsuji Tetsuro wrote extensively about the concept of fudo, describing the intimate relationship between human beings and their natural environment. According to this philosophy, humans aren't separate from nature, but integral parts of it, affecting and being affected in an endless dance of reciprocity. This worldview stands in stark contrast to Western philosophical traditions that often positioned humanity as separate from or superior to the natural world. Indigenous wisdom traditions across cultures have maintained this understanding, recognizing that we don't merely live on Earth, but are expressions of Earth itself. The ancient Chinese philosophy of Taoism teaches that true wisdom comes from observing nature's patterns and aligning ourselves with its fundamental rhythms. Lao Tzu wrote that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished, reminding us that healing requires patience and surrender to natural processes. When modern stress began overwhelming Japanese society, Shinrin Yoku emerged as a bridge between ancestral wisdom and contemporary needs, validated now by rigorous science. It represents a return to what indigenous peoples worldwide have always known: that separation from nature is separation from ourselves, causing profound psychological and spiritual distress. The practice invites us to remember that we are not visitors in nature, but rather nature itself, temporarily experiencing consciousness in human form. This remembrance alone begins to dissolve the existential isolation that characterizes so much of modern psychological suffering and spiritual emptiness. Second, the science behind healing, how nature transforms our brain and body. In recent decades, scientists have begun studying the effects of Shinrin Yoku with rigorous methodology, measuring physiological and psychological changes with precision. The results have been remarkable, proving that ancient intuitions about nature's healing power rest on concrete, biological, and biochemical foundations. Studies demonstrate that spending time in forests significantly reduces cortisol levels, the hormone most associated with chronic stress and its damaging effects. Even 15 minutes of forest immersion can produce measurable decreases in anxiety indicators and stress markers throughout the body's systems. Trees release organic compounds called phytoncides, volatile substances that protect them from insects, bacteria, and fungal infections threatening their survival. When we breathe these compounds, our bodies respond by increasing natural killer cells, specialized immune cells that destroy tumors, and virus-infected cells. A comprehensive study at Chiba University in Japan found that forest walking reduces blood pressure and heart rate significantly compared to urban environments. It also increases parasympathetic nervous system activity, responsible for rest and restoration, while decreasing sympathetic activity associated with stress and fight-or-flight responses. Nature also affects our brainwave patterns, increasing alpha waves associated with relaxed alertness, creativity, and the integration of conscious and unconscious processing. In contrast, urban environments overstimulate the prefrontal cortex, the brain region associated with excessive rumination, worry, and analytical overthinking. American researcher Roger Ulrich conducted a pioneering study showing that hospital patients whose windows overlooked trees recovered significantly faster than those facing brick walls. These patients required fewer pain medications, experienced fewer complications, and were discharged earlier, demonstrating nature's profound influence on healing processes. The presence of nature has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers throughout the body, addressing a root cause of numerous chronic diseases. This anti-inflammatory effect occurs through multiple pathways, including stress reduction, improved sleep quality, and direct biochemical interactions with plant compounds. Research in environmental psychology reveals that nature restores our capacity for directed attention, the cognitive resource depleted by constant digital stimulation and urban demands. After nature exposure, people perform better on tasks requiring focus, demonstrate enhanced working memory, and show improved executive function across multiple domains. Studies with children diagnosed with attention deficit disorders show that time in nature produces effects comparable to pharmaceutical interventions without any adverse side effects. Green spaces provide what researchers call soft fascination, gently capturing attention in ways that allow mental resources to replenish and restore naturally. Third, the art of complete presence, the difference between walking and forest bathing. Many people confuse ordinary walking in nature with the authentic practice of Shinrin Yoku, missing the essential distinction between physical activity and meditative presence. The fundamental difference lies in the quality of awareness and the depth of sensory engagement we bring to the experience of being in nature. Regular walking often occurs while our minds wander through past regrets or future anxieties, replaying conversations or planning tomorrow's activities unconsciously. We walk while thinking about work problems, listening to podcasts, checking our phones, or maintaining the constant mental chatter that characterizes much of modern consciousness. Shinrin Yoku, by contrast, is a meditative practice inviting us to be completely present in the immediate moment with full sensory awareness. We move slowly and deliberately, paying attention to every sensation, sound, scent, texture, and visual detail that nature offers our awakened senses. We begin with slow, deep breathing, inhaling forest air saturated with the scent of earth, leaves, flowers, and the complex chemistry of living ecosystems. We attune to nature's symphony, rustling leaves, bird songs, flowing water, insect hums, and even the profound silence between sounds that cities never offer. We extend our hands to touch tree bark, feeling its roughness or smoothness, observing its intricate patterns and the living history written in its texture. We watch how sunlight filters through canopy leaves, creating ever-changing patterns of light and shadow that dance across the forest floor like liquid gold. We notice the play of wind through branches, the way moisture feels on our skin, the temperature variations between sun and shade, hot and cool. Every sensation becomes a gateway into presence, pulling us out of mental abstraction into the immediate reality of embodied sensory experience. The Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that walking meditation is the art of printing peace with every step we take on earth. In Shinrin Yoku, the destination is irrelevant. What matters is the journey itself and the quality of presence we bring to each moment of unfolding experience. The practice naturally cultivates what psychologists call flow states, characterized by complete absorption in present activity and temporary dissolution of self-consciousness. In these states, the artificial boundary between observer and observed dissolves, and we experience ourselves as integral parts of the natural world rather than separate spectators. This dissolution of subject-object duality represents a profound shift in consciousness, one that indigenous traditions and contemplative practices have cultivated for thousands of years. Modern society's emphasis on achievement and productivity trains us to constantly be somewhere other than where we are, missing the only moment we ever actually inhabit. Fourth, therapeutic benefits, from stress reduction to immune system enhancement. Shinrin Yoku offers an extensive range of health benefits that touch virtually every dimension of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. The most immediately noticeable benefit is the dramatic reduction in stress and anxiety levels that practitioners consistently report after forest immersion. People who practice Shinrin Yoku regularly describe significant improvements in sleep quality and duration, falling asleep more easily and waking more refreshed. Nature helps recalibrate our circadian rhythms, the internal biological clocks governing sleep-wake cycles, and optimizes melatonin production for restorative rest. On the immunological level, studies show increases of up to 50% in natural killer cell activity after just 2 days of forest bathing. This immune enhancement persists for approximately 1 month following a single forest immersion session, providing lasting protective benefits against disease. Shinrin Yoku also improves cardiovascular health significantly, reducing blood pressure in ways that may prevent or help manage hypertension without pharmaceutical intervention. This effect is both immediate and sustained, lasting several days after practice, making it a valuable complementary therapy for heart disease prevention. Psychologically, forest bathing effectively treats depression and enhances mood through multiple mechanisms, including neurotransmitter regulation and cognitive pattern interruption. Nature helps break the cycle of negative rumination that characterizes and perpetuates depressive states, offering alternative perspectives on life's challenges and difficulties. Creativity and cognitive performance improve markedly after nature exposure, as demonstrated by enhanced problem-solving abilities and divergent thinking capacity. Researchers have found that students learning in natural environments outperform their peers in traditional classrooms across multiple academic domains and age groups. For children with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorders, Shinrin Yoku provides effective natural therapy without the side effects associated with pharmaceutical treatments. Nature calms overactive nervous systems and helps children develop focus and concentration skills organically through engagement with complex, interesting, natural environments. The practice also reduces symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and other conditions characterized by systemic inflammation and dysregulated stress response systems. Many practitioners report that regular forest bathing provides more sustained relief than conventional treatments, addressing root causes rather than merely suppressing symptoms. Pain perception decreases during and after forest immersion, as nature engagement triggers release of endorphins and other natural analgesics while reducing neural pain signals. For those suffering chronic pain conditions, Shinrin Yoku can become an important component of holistic pain management strategies that reduce dependence on medications. Fifth, practicing Shinrin Yoku in your life, accessible applications for everyone. The encouraging news is that you don't need pristine wilderness or remote destinations to experience the benefits of Shinrin Yoku practice. Any space with trees and natural elements, even a city park or tree-lined street, can serve as a venue for forest bathing and conscious nature connection. Begin by dedicating at least 20 minutes for practice, leaving behind your phone and all electronic devices that fragment attention and prevent full presence. Before you start walking, stand still for a moment, take 3 deep breaths, and set the intention to be completely present with all your senses. Walk very slowly, much slower than your normal pace, as though you're savoring each step like tasting rare wine or appreciating fine art. Stop periodically, breathe deeply, look around carefully and listen to nature's sounds with complete attention, noticing details you normally overlook. Engage with natural elements using all your senses, touch trees, rocks, leaves, and soil, feeling their textures and temperatures against your skin. If water is present, approach it, observe its movement, listen to its voice, splash your face if appropriate, and feel its coolness and fluidity. Try tree meditation, where you choose a single tree and sit with it for several minutes, developing a relationship with this particular living being. Observe its details carefully. Leaf shapes, branch patterns, bark color and texture, and try to sense its living presence, its rootedness, its patient endurance. The writer Richard Louv, in his book Last Child in the Woods, discusses nature deficit disorder, a condition affecting modern populations increasingly disconnected from natural world. He argues that restoring connection with nature isn't optional luxury, but fundamental necessity for complete health and optimal human development across the lifespan. If you live in cities, seek nature on balconies, rooftops, in small gardens, indoor plants, and any green spaces available within urban environments. Even viewing nature images or listening to nature sounds produces measurable positive effects on stress levels and psychological well-being, though direct contact is optimal. Make Shinrin Yoku a weekly or even daily habit if possible, as benefits accumulate and deepen with regular, consistent practice over time. Remember that nature is a silent teacher offering lessons in patience, presence, acceptance, resilience, and harmonious relationship with life's inevitable changes. Consider joining or forming Shinrin Yoku groups in your community. A shared practice deepens the experience and creates supportive communities around conscious living. Many certified forest therapy guides now offer structured sessions that combine traditional practices with contemporary psychological insights for maximum therapeutic benefit. For those unable to access natural areas regularly, bring nature into your living and working spaces through plants, natural materials, nature sounds, and images. Research shows that even these indirect forms of nature contact produce meaningful improvements in mood, cognitive function, and physiological stress markers throughout the day. The practice ultimately invites us to remember our true nature. We are not machines requiring constant productivity, but living organisms needing cycles of activity and rest. Shinrin Yoku teaches that healing isn't something we achieve through willpower, but something we allow by surrendering to nature's wisdom and our own deeper rhythms. Thus, we conclude our enlightening journey into the realm of Shinrin Yoku, the ancient Japanese art of forest bathing that reminds us healing and wholeness are closer than we imagine. We've learned that nature isn't merely beautiful scenery to admire from a distance, but a powerful source of physical, psychological, and spiritual medicine awaiting us in its embrace. In a world accelerating toward complexity and disconnection, Shinrin Yoku offers simple yet profound therapy, inviting us to slow down, become present, and reconnect with life in its purest forms. The practice teaches that we don't need to travel to exotic locations or dedicate hours we don't have. Even 20 minutes of conscious presence with trees and natural elements can transform our state of being. If this exploration has inspired you, we invite you to support Pulse of Awareness with your likes, subscriptions, and shares. We encourage you to share your own Shinrin Yoku experiences in the comments below, as your stories inspire our entire community and enrich our collective journey toward greater awareness, health, and harmony with the living world that sustains us all.